everybody. Welcome to Bestie Book Reviews. I'm here with my bestie, Mandy.
And I'm here with my bestie, Jessica.
So it's that time again. It is time for our weekly reading wrap-up where we do our 1-minute book recs and we tell you we tell you about all the books that we read in the past week with 1-minute synopsises for each book. I feel really out of my element. I'm just going to put that out there right now. You guys can tell I am not home. I'm in California at my sister-in-law, so I'm definitely filming in a different location. I don't feel together. So, okay, before we get started, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We are still doing our Road to 1K giveaway, and we are still giving away Beth Flynn's 9 minutes when we hit 750, and we are so close to hitting 750. You're going to want to hit that subscribe button. We know you're watching. Just hit the button. And we have other books that we plan on giving away between 750 and 1,000, so you definitely want to be here. We have a huge celebration for when we hit 1,000 subscribers, and that should be coming up pretty quickly. So you're going to want to be here and be a part of that. All right, Mandy.
Okay.
Okay.
You always say, tell me about your reading week.
I know. I had to take a breather. That was a lot of information. But tell me about your reading week.
Well, my reading week.
I haven't talked to you. I've been away from you. How's your reading week?
Okay, my reading week, I only read 5 books this week, but 3 of them were 5 stars, which was really nice because apparently looking back as we're getting ready to do our November wrap up, looking back, I'm noticing, and I know this is going to come out after our November wrap up, but we're doing like recording. But anyway, I only had a few 5-star reads earlier in the month. So it's kind of crazy to end the month after not having hardly any 5-star reads with 3. So
yeah. Okay, so I read 10 books this week. I was in a hospital with my daughter all week, so I thought I would actually read more than that, but there was a lot of interruptions, and several of them were more novella books because I felt like I needed to get some reading in. So I had a 1-star read, and I swear this is probably the only times I've ever given a book a 1-star read. So we will talk about that. And I did have a 5-star read this week. So
interesting.
Very interesting. So let's get started with this. So I did a reread. I've told you guys before that this time of year is when I do a lot of Ice Planet Barbarian rereads, and that's what I did. So I read Barbarian Alien. Mandy has read this one. This is the 2nd book in the Ice Planet Barbarian series. This is Liz and Rahash's book. I love all of the Ice Planet Barbarians, but there's something about the originals that they just hit home. They're fun. So this is Liz and Rahash. Liz is very snarky, and she's reluctant, and she really doesn't want to be on the ice planet. And she, of course, resonates to the meanest, surliest alien there. And he kidnaps her, and he takes her to a cave to try to get her to like him before they go back with the other tribe people. And this is their story. I love Liz's snark. I love her comments. Liz is fun. Liz brings the fun. And when you get into like the spinoff, she's in the spinoff quite a bit. And I just love her sassiness. She's a great character. So I enjoy their book quite a bit.
Okay.
So
my first book of the week was a 5-star read. Woo-hoo. It is called Wait for You, and this is by Jennifer L. Armentrout, but like the front of the cover actually says writing as J. Lynn. So this is about Avery and Cameron, and Avery has moved clear across the country to kind of get away from her hometown and her parents to go to college. Because back in her hometown, some things happened, and her parents were more concerned about their country club image than their daughter. So she has reason to want to move so far away from everybody. Right away, she ends up running into Cameron, literally, who is one of the college well-known guys on campus that all the girls find, super attractive. Like, he's Mr. Popularity. I guess that's the word I'm looking for. And they become friends. And this is a friends to lovers that I actually really enjoyed because they become friends and she just really values his friendship in this time of need she kind of has, because she keeps getting harassing phone calls and emails and she can't figure out who's sending them about this incident that happened back home. And so she just really values his friendship, and he asks her out all the time and she's like, no, 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 because she just doesn't want to lose that. And this I understand because they just met and started their friendship. And then he's like kind of pursuing her through this. And this is where the wait for you title kind of comes from, because he understands she needs some time to like come around to this. So I actually really enjoyed it. It was 5 stars. It's college, but it's a little YA, but not really, if that makes sense. I mean, it's YA in the sense that you're reading about college kids.
Okay. Okay.
But it doesn't have YA like feels.
Okay. All right. Well, my next book is definitely not YA.
All right.
So I read Oscar by BJ Alpha. This is the last book in her Secrets and Lies series. There are some novellas that are in there, and I haven't read those yet, but this is the last main book. So this is the last of the brothers. This is Paige and Oscar's story. So we've seen Oscar throughout all of these books, and these books just get better and better and better as they go. Oscar is neurodivergent. He is on the they think he's somewhat autistic. He's on the spectrum, and because he's in a mafia family, he's had a hard time growing up. He only gets his pleasure from call girls. He actually owns a call girl situation. And Paige is in need of money, and she hears about this from a friend. And so her first night, she is sent to Oscar. And she had a brother who was on the spectrum, so she recognizes certain things right away with him, and the way he likes things and needs things, and some of his quirks and how he won't look her in the eyes and certain things. And this is their story. She definitely sees him, and she's the first person who really does that. It was more focused on their relationship than it was on the family, where the other books we get a lot more of the family and the mafia drama. This one had way less. It was more focused on Oscar's relationship with her, and loved it. It was 5 stars.
Oscar is Cal's brother then from the first book. Okay.
Yeah, all of them are brothers. All 5 books, there's 5 brothers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yep. So yes, and because in the first book, in Cal's book, we meet the son, who is autistic. That's where they figure out that, oh, that's why Oscar's so different from us. He's this way too. Like he's like, so yeah. But yeah, it was 5 stars. Loved it.
Awesome.
Okay, what else you got?
So my next 5-star read was actually on your December TBR.
I know.
I was reading it and I'm like, oh my God, Jessica is going to love this book. I have to tell her about it. And then I was doing some editing or something. I was creating some shorts, I think. And I realized that this was a book on your TBR.
Yep, I know what it is too.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yes.
So you're going to want to still read it. It's really good. It's 5 stars, okay. Jessica.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'm talking about is Rush by Emma Scott, and this is about Charlotte and Noah. Noah is an extreme sports guy who works for this magazine. He travels all over doing like insane sports, insane, dangerous things, and he writes about it and takes photography. Well, he's in an accident that causes him to lose his eyesight. So he is blind, and he is not dealing well with this. He has shut everyone out of his life and just holes up in his room. And Charlotte is a violinist. She just graduated from Juilliard. So she was like really, really good. But she has lost her inspiration due to some tragedies in her own life. She's working at a restaurant. She can't pay rent. She's living in this like closet-like space in an apartment that she shares with a whole bunch of other people. She's just kind of a little bit miserable. She meets somebody who is taking care of Noah, and he asked her to come work for Noah. and be like his personal assistant. And so she kind of sees this as a way out of her like home situation, and to have a little peace and quiet, and maybe she can practice and like get back her mojo and stuff while she helps Noah, who really doesn't want to be helped.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
It's really good.
I've been wanting to read that one. I mean, it's downloaded, it's on the Kindle, ready to go. Just haven't been in the right mindset to read it. So, but it's there. It was on my December TBR. It's
Yeah,
there.
you need to read it. It's really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so my next book was one of the free Audible books. I believe it was one of the free ones. It just came out. It's an Audible original. It's a Christmas story. It's How to Lose a Guy Before Christmas. It's by AJ Pine. This is about it's narrated by Andy Arndt and Jason Clark. So it's great narrators. This is about Lucy, and Lucy her friends talked her into doing this hookup app at Thanksgiving time, and she hooked up with this guy, and they had this incredible night. And then she kind of got cold feet and freaked out because it was so incredible, and she ran off, and she never heard from him again. Well, now here it is a few days before Christmas, and she's trying to get home to like Pennsylvania. I think she's in New York or something like that. She's trying to get home, and there's a big storm. All the airports are shut down, and so one of her friends mentions this ride app that she could use, where somebody's driving it, she could ride with them, and they split the cost. So she goes online. She immediately gets that, set up. Somebody's going her way, and they're leaving really quick. And she leaves her apartment and gets in the car, and it's the guy that she had the one night stand with. So then they're on a road trip, and this road trip may or may not take a little longer than expected because they are driving in a daggone blizzard, which just does not sound smart to me. If everything's shut down, just stay home. Just stay home. But they end up in a Christmas town, and it's very cute. There's some really randy older people at like a senior center.
I feel like I've seen this Hallmark movie.
Probably. It was very cute. I gave it 4 stars. I was in the hospital and I needed a happy little pick-me-up. I was there with my daughter, and this did it. So 4 stars. It was cute. Not something I'm going to pick up all the time. It was a great little palate cleanser. Great little Christmas book. So, yeah.
Okay. My next book is from Convincing My Bestie, The Darkest of the Dark, which will be out next week. Mm-hmm. So let me tell you, a spoiler alert, I guess, of what book I chose.
Yeah.
So I picked Hitch by Lauren Beale. This is about Lex and Selena. Selena is driving home in a rainstorm, and she's struggling to see, so she pulls over for a minute to kind of gather her thoughts, and there's a knock on the window, and it is Lex, and Lex asks for a ride, and she agrees, and then she kind of is like, oh, maybe this was not such a great idea, and it's too late at that point. So that's where their adventure begins. I guess we could say. It's dark, it's wild, it's really good if you are looking for a dark, wild ride. I don't want to tell too much more about what it's about because I think that there's some things that happen that are kind of, you just need to read about organically. But yeah, definitely dark, definitely wild. So yeah, if you're looking for a more traditional read with dark elements, that would not be this. This is dark from like page 1 all the way through. Mm-hmm. So if you are looking for something dark, try this. It's not super long. So if you find like it's not for you, you're not stuck like in this book that's gonna, be 400 or 500 pages long. I think it's just over 200.
Most of her books are in that 200 250 range. They're not extremely long, but they're good.
It's a very complete book too, though. Sometimes when books are shorter, you worry that it's not going to be complete. It's complete.
Yeah. So for my next one, you can just leave me on. This is my 1 star, and it's not going to be very long, so we don't even need to set the timer for this.
Okay.
Okay.
Are you sure?
The next book I'm sure. The next book that I read is called I Stalked My Stalker. And I should have known. And it's by Terica Bell. This was, I think it was actually one of the, I don't know if it was free, but it was in the Audible sale and it was really cheap and it was like $2. And I'm like, done. Stalking book. Why not? Oh my gosh. This book was 1 star. And if I could have given it no stars, I probably would have. I probably should have. I can't even tell you what it was about because I don't even know. It was beyond horrible. Just do yourself a favor and don't pick it up. I honestly do not know what it was. I don't know what it was about. It was just that horrible. I can't even tell you the main characters' names. I don't know.
All right.
It was bad. It was really, really, really bad.
Okay.
Just don't do it. Okay, next.
Okay. So my next book was okay. It's a 3-star because it was okay. I got a little bored, but I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. So I read The Christmas Wishing Tree by Emily March. Normally I really enjoy Emily March, but I've done most of her Audible shorts, and this was a full-length novel. So I don't know if this if I just really prefer her shorter ones, her novellas, or if for some reason there's just this, if it's just this book or not. I will not give up on Emily March. I will definitely still try some more things by her because I've enjoyed everything else by her. So now that I've prattled on about that, this is about Devin and Jenna. See, it sounds like it's going to be really good. Riley is Jenna's son that she's adopted. And she starts getting these threatening messages that really freak her out. And some things happen. She has a stalker and she's terrified for her son's life. While this first starts going down, her son calls this random number, which turns out to be, he thinks he's calling Santa, and it turns out to be Devin, and he asks for a dad for Christmas. And then he calls, yeah, see, it starts off really good. He calls Devin multiple times and talks to him, and Devin just kind of plays along that he is Santa. And he ends up talking to Jenna, letting her know kind of what's going on and stuff. And then that's kind of that. Well, then they end up going on vacation to Eternity Springs, where Devin's from. And so then she ends up meeting him, but she's still being stalked. And this is just where I kind of lost interest. But other people might really enjoy it. I mean, it's a Christmas novel, so give it a try.
Okay.
If you want.
I'm gonna go find something dark, but okay.
I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the viewers. I know you don't care for Christmas. Goodness.
I got an arc of Jade West's new book for Christmas. And it's supposed to take all the kinks from all of her books and mash them all up, and they've all been thrown into this book. And I was like, so this has got to be a novella, right? So I was looking, it's almost 300 pages. And I was like, I got to start that today. Okay. So my next book was a Ruby Dixon book, but it is not a Nice Planet Barbarian book. I just feel like you need to know that, Mandy. Okay. So this is Beauty and Autumn. This is Beauty. So there were 4 authors that got together and wrote 4 different books. And they're all Beauty and the Beast retellings. And they're all short little novellas. And so there's 4 different ones. So this is the 3rd one. This one is by Ruby Dixon. And so this is her take on Beauty and the Beast. And so this is about Willow in her little village. So this is fantasy. In her little village, there has been tales of this beast for years, and every year at their autumn harvest their harvest celebration, a bride for the beast is chosen. And so she is sent off to the woods where this beast is because there's a curse on their land. And once they go, they never hear from these girls again. They're never seen again. They don't ever hear from them, but the curse is not broken. So they know that whatever it is has not been lifted. So this year it's Autumn's turn. And instead of just crying and going off to be the bride of the beast, she seeks the help of an old lady in town and asks for advice. And so that's what makes her a little bit different. And so this is her story. So it's a short little novella. I actually won the audio for this from Ruby's reading group, and it was good. I gave it 4 stars for a short little novella and a Beauty and the Beast retelling. It was great. It was very short, but it was great. I kind of want to read the other 3 and see what the other authors have. So, yep.
Okay. So, my next book.
Is it the book?
5-star read.
It's the book. Okay, I'm gonna,
It's my
put
last
my
one.
stuff down. I have a feeling you're gonna need a little more than a minute here.
Yeah, I'm not even setting the timer. Okay. I'll just leave you on, I guess.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So this is the book I have been waiting and waiting and waiting for.
For how long?
I know some people have been waiting 3 years because her last book came out in January of 2021. So most people have been waiting almost 3 years. I've been waiting 2 years ever since I read Don't Kiss the Bride.
I've been waiting 3 years.
This is The Lovely Return by Carian Cole. She's been telling us it was coming for a while. So when she said November 30th, like my fingers were crossed. I really, really tried hard to like be like, this is it. This is going to happen. And it did. And oh my gosh. Oh, I love this book. But here's the thing. Before I talk about it, I have something to talk to you and our viewers about. So make sure you comment on this. What do you think about spoilers? So do you think it's a spoiler when somebody posts, oh my gosh, and this did not happen. Like I'm making something up about, some people have been posting a lot about this book. And so the numbers that I'm going to use are completely made up. So please don't think that I'm giving away anything or that I'm reading what somebody else posted and giving away. I'm making something up. Okay. So I'll even be crazy about it. When I got to chapter 720, oh my gosh, I was totally wrecked. I didn't see that coming. Do you think that's a spoiler?
Kind of.
I think so too. And so then, because as the reader, then I'm like, oh my gosh, is this what's going to happen in chapter 720? Is this what's going to happen? Is this what's going to happen when I get to the 62% mark? Again, totally making up numbers. And so then you kind of like, I don't know. I feel like that is a spoiler just as much as if you say Pete the Dragon shows up and burns everyone. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like it's almost the same. So tell me.
It's like when you're reading Akatar and you're in the second book and everybody says chapter 55. Like it's everywhere. Everybody knows that. It's everywhere. It's on shirts. It's everywhere. You know to expect something. I knew it before I even read it because it's everywhere. It's hard to miss it. It's on TikTok. It's on Instagram. It's on Pinterest. It's on Etsy. It's everywhere. Everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
I don't either. So what do you guys feel about spoilers? Do you think those are spoilers when somebody gives away something like that and says something about a particular chapter or particular mark in the book, like at a percentage? Let me know what you think.
Yeah, because I know that something's going to happen. And then I'm like anticipating that to happen. And I think it takes away from the shock value of something happening and it takes away from that shock because you know that something's going to happen.
Well, or if you think it's something else and then what it actually is, you can either be like relieved or extremely disappointed.
I just know that if I'm supposed to be anticipating something at a certain chapter or a certain percentage in the book, it takes away from the reveal of whatever that is. Yes. For me.
For me too. So I actually avoided Facebook until I got this done because way too many people were posting about it. And I'm like, I just don't want to see anything about it. So my review is going to be respectful of people who want to know nothing. So this is
I want to be like Jon Snow. I have not read this yet. I am not in the mindset for it. So I'm going to be like Jon Snow and I want to know nothing. So just give me the facts, ma'am.
That's what I'm going to do for this.
Okay.
So if you want a more in-depth review, please feel free to message me and I will give you a more in-depth review. But this is what you're getting for this. First off, just pause this video and go read it. But make sure you've hit the like button and subscribe first. Okay. Oh my gosh. So, did I even say the name of the book? The Lovely Return by Carian Cole. This is about Penny and Alex. And as always, Carian Cole has the most captivating writing. I was sucked in. And this might be too spoilery for somebody. So if you want to just skip ahead a few seconds, go ahead. I was hooked and crying in the prologue. From that point on, I did not want to put this book down. And I was frustrated that I had responsibilities in life. At the end, I felt so complete. Like the book is very complete. It is a standalone. I felt very, very complete. So I'm going to tell you what Carian says the book is about. So that I'm not treading on any spoilers at all. So this is an age gap. It is reincarnation. It is forbidden love. It is a slow burn. Okay. I love age gap, and I've never read an age gap like this. And I just love it.
Sorry, I'm sitting on the floor for the first time and my body does not like it. Is that a sign of old age?
I don't know.
Okay, anyhow, back to the book.
So if you read anything about the blurb on the back, it's basically this little girl, Penny, wanders over to Alex's house when she's 6, and they form a friendship, and things go from there. Again, this is nothing like Don't Kiss the Bride. This is nothing like Torn. So if you're thinking, oh, this is like Torn, nope. So different. And it's amazing to me how she can just capture, like, age gap is hard. Once you've read a few of the really good age gap books, it's hard to find age gap again that doesn't just feel like a watered down version of the really good ones. But Carian Cole wrote another amazing age gap book that doesn't feel like anything else. It's an incredible read. There's so much I want to say. Like, maybe I need to do a separate video full of spoilers. There's so much I want to talk about. There's so many things, but I don't want to take away any of the joy from reading this book that I got to experience. And I feel like if I say certain things about it, it takes away the joy.
Okay. How long is it?
Oh, it's a long one. It's over 500 pages.
Okay, so I was gonna say, is it something I can read on the airplane and on the way home and not be interrupted? But it's really hard for me to get into it when I'm traveling. So,
I mean, you can definitely knock out quite a bit of it.
I think so. Well, it's only a 2-hour flight. What do you mean knocking? But I do have a 2-hour drive too, where I'm not driving.
Well, that's what I mean. If you read during, and you're not driving, by the way, somebody else is. But if you're able to knock it out during, I mean, you'd get pretty far.
Yeah. And then you could talk to me.
Yes, that would be fantastic. If you've read it, message me. I would like to talk to somebody about it. This reminds me of Perfect Strangers by J.T. Geisinger. I am still waiting, Jessica.
Oops. I think Karen's reading it. She was announcing it.
That's right. I'm going to message Karen.
Okay. Message Karen if you haven't read it. Sorry.
What? I'll message her on Facebook so you don't accidentally read a spoiler. Okay.
I like how you think. Okay. So ready for my next book?
Yeah. I'm going to go message Karen while you talk.
Okay. Okay. Ready?
Yes.
Okay. So my next book was another reread, but we're doing, so yesterday, when this video comes out on Thursday, so yesterday, our Romance 101 would have came out, and it was Mafia, and this was one of my very first Mafia reads, Sweet Temptation by Cora Riley, and so I had to do a reread of it this week because I was thinking about it so much. I love this book. So this is about Julia and Cassio. So this is another age gap. But this is Mafia, but we don't see a lot of Mafia in this one. It's more about their relationship. So the beginning of this book, Cassio's wife dies, and they have 2 very young children. We're talking like a 3 or 4 month old baby girl and then a 2-year-old little boy, I think. And he needs a wife. Now he's in his 30s. And because he needs a wife, because this is a Mafia situation, he gets offered up Julia, who is 17 at the time. Their wedding happens the day after she turns 18. She's different from other girls as far as like she doesn't conform. She likes to wear sunflowers, and she's just wants to be a girl. But he and her get married, and then
your time is up, but I can't find the timer because I really was messaging Karen.
She's an insta mom to these kids. And so this is her story. These kids have trauma from losing their mom. There's a lot of things going on, but I love their story. I love Cassio and Julia's story. This was my first Cora Riley book. Like, this started it all. So if you haven't read this one, go read this one.
That was my first Mafia read too, because you told me to read it, and I feel like I was a little bit harsher on it than I would be if I reread it.
I think so. You should try and do a reread of it. I loved it. I love it so much. I reread it maybe once a year.
I've only reread one book in, like, I think, no. except like children's books, like my own personal books. I read, okay,
Wild.
The Wild. As an adult, like when I was younger, like teenager and stuff, I would reread some books. But as an adult, The Wild is the only book I reread, and that's because we did that.
Well, and I just, when I get into a reading slump, or when I'm in a situation where I want to read but I don't have the bandwidth to start a new book, that's when I do a reread. So you'll see me do rereads quite often, or when I want to read something or listen to a book, but I'm like too busy to focus on a new book. That's when I'll listen to a book that I've already read. So it tends to be these same ones over and over again because they're my favorites. So sorry, you guys are going to get a few Ice Planet Barbarians this month.
But after reading The Lovely Return, I'm like, ooh, I think during winter break, I'm going to reread Don't Kiss the Bride.
Do it.
I really loved it.
Did you listen to the audio last time?
For what?
Don't Kiss the Bride.
Don't Kiss the Bride? No, I read it.
I would listen to the audio this time. It'll give you something different.
Yeah.
It's good. I listened to the audio.
Yeah, but while reading. Just be sitting there. Like, I'll be like, oh, I'm going to get so much done while I'm listening to this book. And then I'll be like, oh my gosh, I can't do anything.
Okay. Was that your last book? Is it all me now?
Oh, yeah, it's all you. I'm going to go back to messaging Karen.
Okay, you do that. All right. Okay, thanks. So the next book I read is called Ruining Dollia. This is by C.R. Jane. So this is the third book in the Mafia Wars. Now, these are interconnected standalones, also written by different authors. I'm actually reading the first one right now, and I'm like 10% from being done. So it's killing me that I'm not done yet. But these are all reverse harem mafia romances. So in this world, all the big mafia heads came together 10 years before all of these books started. And in order to create peace among the different mafia branches, they decided to put up their daughters for marriage because that's what you do. So from each one of these head families, you've got your Irish and your Sicilian and your, Bratva and all of these guys, they're sacrificing a daughter 10 years from that date to be traded and married off to one of the other families to create an alliance between all of the major mafia heads around the world. And so this is the story of Dollia. She is from the London Syndicate, and she is coming to New York, and she's marrying into the Familia. And when she's on the airplane on the way over, she's kept herself a virgin the whole time because she knew she was going to have to be on her wedding night. And she's in business class or first class. So she has the beds, like the seats that lay down into beds, and there's a guy right next to her, and he is just charmed literally the pants off of her. And she gives it up to him on the way back. Then she gets to the airport or gets to New York and meets her fiance, her husband, and the guy comes out and it's his brother. So yeah, there's some things that happen. I gave it 4.5 stars. Loved it. It was so good. I kind of want a little bit more angst. I feel like all of these books would have been like 100 times better had they not been reverse harem, but I can do a reverse harem, so we're good. We're fine.
Oh, you had me until you reminded me that it was reverse harem. Darn it.
Definitely check triggers. There is some sexual trauma on both sides for these guys. So there are triggers for both one of the main male characters and our female main character. And I've noticed like in both of these. So I'm reading Finding Rose is what I'm reading right now. And which is the first book in there's 6 of these books. I feel like there's more of a connection with the first guy who they're supposed to be marrying, and then these other people get brought in.
Wait. If it's reverse harem, so it's reverse harem with the brothers sharing? Mm-hmm. That's just weird.
They might, but they don't share at the same time.
Who wants to share with their brother? Would you share with your sister?
Ew. We don't even have the same taste in guys. No. But I mean, like, one of them's a half brother. In the one I'm reading right now, one's a cousin.
It's just weird.
They have to keep it in the mafia family, apparently.
I don't.
But I am loving these books.
It.
I'm loving these books. I'm going to tell you right now, the one I'm reading right now is going to be 5 stars. So, just saying. Unless something really bad happens.
What if something crazy happens?
I know, I've got 10% left. So,
yeah, maybe she's going to kill everybody off. And she's like, I only want one guy, so I'm killing all of you.
The one that I'm reading right now is far angstier than this one. So
that's how I'm going to write a reverse.
I don't know that I would read your reverse harem. We're going to have to talk. Okay. So then the next book that I read was yet another reread, and it was yet another Ruby Dixon. I'm sorry, guys. I really am not, but I'm going to pretend that I am. So this is the third in the Ice Home spinoff of the Ice Planet Barbarians. This is Willa's Beast. This is about Willa and Gren. So Willa is our little girl from the South. She's not a little girl. She's grown. She's a little girl, but she's from the South. So she's got that Southern twang, and she thinks everybody deserves a chance. And when they get to the planet, Gren is there, and he is a beast. He's this gray beastie guy, and he doesn't understand what's going on, and so he fights everybody. So they kind of tie him up because they don't want him to hurt anybody, but they don't know, like, he doesn't understand their language. He thinks he's in an arena because he's a gladiator, so he thinks he's going to have to fight, and so he just growls at everybody. And Willa doesn't like how he's treated, so she frees him, and they run away together. And then they have to survive and decide whether they're going to go back to the group or not. So this is their story. I love their story. It's just so cute. And the things she says reminds me of my grandpa. So it's all good.
Okay, your time's up again.
I heard it. Are you messaging again?
No.
Oh, okay.
I was just...
Okay. So then the next book I read, Mandy, I think you're going to want to read this. I just don't know how you're going to read this because it's a K Club exclusive from K Webster, which means you have to be a part of K Webster's K Club to read it. So it's right here. It's A Cold Day in Hail. Oop. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay. So this is a K Club exclusive. So you have to be a member of K Webster's K Club. But the light does not like it at all. But this is a continuation of the Hale siblings, of their story. So this takes a place about 9 or 10 years after the book ends. Their oldest child is 9. So we're talking about 10 years later. And it's over Christmas. And they're meeting, I'm going to put this down. They're meeting some friends to stay in a cabin. Two couples and their children. They have 3 kids at this point, and they're meeting at this cabin to spend Christmas there. And something happens that jeopardizes their way of life and their way of living and being together. And so it's just a short novella. It's a Christmas novella, and I gave it 5 stars. I loved it. I loved being back in that world. I loved seeing their struggles. I loved seeing their families, and I loved seeing the other couples. So there was that.
I have to go join a K Club?
Thanks. Or when you and I are together, I'll just throw you my Kindle. And it's only going to take you a few minutes to read. So okay. I'll hook you up.
Thanks.
Okay. And then the last book that I read this week was One Timer by Tegan Hunter. This is the 3rd book in her Carolina Comets hockey series. So this is about Hollis and Lowell, or Lowell's first name is Cameron, but he is the captain of the hockey team. And Hollis's sister is getting married to one of the other hockey boys. And so she's at the wedding. It's the rehearsal. This guy pulls up in this like green falling apart truck, and he's got his music really loud, and Hollis is going through a divorce. Her head's just not in the right space. She's having a really hard day. Her husband cheated on her. He had a mistress their whole marriage, and she found out about it. And so now they're going through a divorce. And so she gets out of her car to go tell him to turn down his music because it's driving her nuts. And as she's pounding on the window, he rolls the window down and she sucker punches him. It's an accident, but anyhow. So it's a definite hate to love situation, but they end up having a one-night stand the next day after the wedding, and she ends up pregnant. And so this is how that all works out. He has trauma because he had a girl who told him she was pregnant just to get him to marry her, even though she wasn't pregnant, so that she could have his money. And then she has the trauma from being cheated on by her husband, or her ex-husband. So there's a little bit of trauma. I gave it 4 stars. It was a great book for what it was. So that was my week. So that's it. That's all we have for you guys.
Yes. Do yourselves a favor and go read The Lovely Return by Carian Cole. Do it. And then come back and watch Jessica Like, some of her darker mafia things will be a nice treat after that. But yeah, The Lovely Return. Oh my gosh. It's kind of ironic that that's the name of her book, since it's been 3 years since she's published, that's the name of her
True.
book, because
True.
it really is a lovely return. And she's been
Mhm.
posting about different books that she's planning to release like next year. So I'm really hoping that this writing hiatus that she's on is like
Done.
over, and like we'll see like several books.
No.
If her, Karen Crompton, and Calla Reed could like get on a schedule with each other, life would be grand.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
And then
Yeah,
we'll
because
just
I already
fill in
got,
with all of our other favorite authors in between.
yeah,
But
because
like,
I
yeah.
know Grace has a book coming out later this month. She
Grace
quit.
McGinty is very good about always having
Well,
books. Like, she writes a lot.
she quit earlier this year working full time to be a full time author, so she's able to crank them out a little bit more now. So,
Well,
I'm
Karen
excited.
Crompton just did that too, so hopefully we'll see
Yes.
more from her. We need to
Mhm.
figure out Calla Reed's and Carian Cole.
She works
like,
full time.
do they have full-time jobs that they need to be letting go?
I know that Calla Reed does, and I don't think that Calla Reed's gonna give it up. I think she has a pretty demanding job.
Well, sacrifices, people.
Okay.
All right. Well, make sure to leave us a comment about all the different things we've talked about today and asked you to comment on. Hit that subscribe button and check back on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays for new videos from us, and on Wednesdays through the rest of 2023 for Romance School 101.
Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next video.